Imagine standing on a sunlit stone wall overlooking the Caribbean Sea, where the waves crash against centuries-old fortifications and the air hums with the rhythm of salsa and laughter. This is Cartagena, Colombia, a city that feels like a dream painted in color and music. Cartagena is where history breathes through every cobblestone street. You walk past balconies dripping with bougainvillea, and you can almost hear whispers of pirates and Spanish galleons that once filled the harbor. The city's old town, surrounded by massive walls built to defend against invaders, is a maze of pastel houses, hidden courtyards, and the scent of tropical fruit. When night falls, the city transforms. Street musicians play cumbia, and people dance under the warm glow of lanterns. It's a celebration that never really ends. Cartagena is alive, and it pulls you in with its rhythm. From the Caribbean coast, we fly high into the Andes, to a place where time feels suspended. Cusco, Peru, once the heart of the Inca Empire, sits surrounded by misty mountains and ancient terraces that climb into the clouds. The city is a fusion of two worlds, Inca foundations crowned by Spanish cathedrals. You can trace this collision of cultures in the very stones of the streets. Walk along Hatun Rumayok Street and you'll find the famous 12-angled stone, a perfect example of Inca craftsmanship. Then, step into the Plaza de Armas, where colonial arcades and Baroque churches frame the heartbeat of modern Cusco. But Cusco isn't just a museum, it's a living city. The markets are alive with color. Women in traditional dress sell fresh fruit, coca leaves, and hand-woven textiles. And just beyond the city, the Sacred Valley stretches out, dotted with ancient ruins like Pisac and Ollantaytambo. Every stone here tells a story. And of course, no journey from Cusco is complete without mentioning Machu Picchu, the lost city in the clouds. Whether you hike the Inca Trail or arrive by train, the moment you see those stone terraces emerge from the mist, you understand why Cusco is called the navel of the world. Heading north again, we find ourselves in Quito, Ecuador, perched high in the Andes at nearly 3,000 meters above sea level. Quito's Old Town is one of the best preserved colonial centers in all of Latin America, and it's easy to see why UNESCO declared it a World Heritage Site. The city unfolds like a tapestry of whitewashed churches, cobblestone plazas, and winding alleys, all surrounded by volcanic peaks. One moment you're standing in the Plaza Grande, listening to church bells echo across the valley, and the next, you're climbing to the top of the Basilica del Voto Nacional, watching clouds drift past the mountains. But Quito has another side too. A young, creative energy that fills its cafes, art galleries, and street murals. You can feel it in the neighborhood of La Floresta, where artists and musicians gather, and in the night markets that buzz with food and conversation. Quito is a city of contrast, ancient and modern, spiritual and playful, and that's what makes it unforgettable. Now let's move west, to the Chilean coast, where the Pacific meets a hillside city unlike any other, Valparaiso. Here, everything seems to defy gravity. Houses painted in every shade imaginable cling to the steep hillsides, connected by a maze of staircases and old funiculars. The streets twist and climb, revealing new views at every turn. The ocean, the harbor, the chaotic beauty of the city itself. Valparaiso isn't polished or perfect, but that's what gives it soul. It's raw, artistic, and endlessly photogenic. As you wander through Cerro Alegre or Cerro Concepcion, the walls explode with color, murals, graffiti, poetry. The entire city feels like a living canvas. Locals call it Valpo, and they say once you've been here, a part of you never leaves. At sunset, when the hills glow gold and the sea catches fire, you understand why poets like Pablo Neruda fell in love with this place. Finally, we arrive in Bolivia, in the serene and elegant city of Sucre. Known as the White City, Sucre shines with colonial charm. Its whitewashed buildings, red-tiled roofs, and quiet courtyards create a sense of timeless calm. Walking through Sucre feels like stepping back into another century. The main square, Plaza 25 de Mayo, is framed by graceful arcades and the cathedral's bell tower. Students from the nearby university fill the cafes, giving the city a youthful heartbeat beneath its historical calm. Sucre is more than just beautiful architecture. It's a city steeped in the history of independence and revolution. This is where Bolivia's Declaration of Independence was signed in 1825, and that revolutionary spirit still lingers in the air. Climb up to La Recoleta at sunset and watch the city glow below, framed by Andean hills. The light here seems softer, slower, as if even time takes a breath before moving on. Each of these cities, Cartagena, Cusco, Quito, Valparaíso, and Sucre, holds its own magic. They are not just destinations, but living stories. They tell of empires and revolutions, of art and resilience, of people who build beauty from stone, paint, and spirit. They remind us that travel is not only about seeing new places, but about feeling them, breathing their air, hearing their music, tasting their food, and carrying a piece of them with us. So if you ever find yourself craving adventure, history, and soul, follow this route across South America. Let Cartagena teach you to dance. Let Cusco teach you to remember. Let Quito teach you to dream. Let Valparaíso teach you to see beauty in chaos. And let Sucre teach you to slow down and simply be. Because sometimes, the most beautiful places are not the ones that shout the loudest, but the ones that sing softly, long after you've gone. Before we end this journey, let's take a moment to imagine what ties all these places together. Each city, though separated by borders and landscapes, shares a common pulse, a celebration of life, color, and endurance. In Cartagena, the rhythm of the Caribbean Sea is echoed in every heartbeat. In Cusco, the whispers of the Andes remind us of the strength of civilizations long past. Quito's air feels charged with both prayer and possibility, while Valparaíso's winds carry the laughter of artists and drifters who came here chasing freedom. And in Sucre, that quiet elegance speaks of a people who have learned to balance pride with peace. Traveling through these cities isn't just about collecting passport stamps, it's about collecting emotions. You learn humility standing before ancient stones that outlast empires. You learn wonder as you gaze at sunsets that turn entire cities into paintings. You learn connection through a smile, a song, a shared cup of coffee, in places that feel both foreign and strangely familiar. And when the trip ends, something lingers. These cities stay with you not as images on a screen, but as memories that change the way you see your own world. That's the true gift of travel. Not escape, but discovery. The discovery that the world, in all its chaos and beauty, is home. If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to hit the like button. It really helps the channel grow. Feel free to share it with a friend who loves a good mystery. And if you haven't already, please subscribe so you won't miss the next story. There's a lot more to uncover, and I'd love to have you along for the journey.